In 1956, a brilliant man discovered how to cure diseases with pure energy. The government's response was swift and brutal, but in 2024, his revolutionary work has resurfaced, more powerful than ever. His name was Wilhelm Reich, a student of Sigmund Freud, a psychoanalyst turned scientist who believed he found the essence of all life itself, a mysterious force he called Orgone energy. Reich claimed orgone was in the atmosphere around us, flowing through your body right now, spanning across galaxies. It was the fundamental life force that animates all living organisms. And when this energy got blocked, disease would manifest. What Reich proposed was revolutionary, that cancer and other diseases weren't just random cellular mutations, but the physical manifestation of blocked life energy. This completely contradicted the pharmaceutical model of medicine.
That the chakras are actually high conductivity points or low resistance points for the body, and I call them the USB ports for the body, because that's where, if we're going to retune our nervous systems or reharmonize it away from what is called synthetic spin, the best way to do it is direct touch with the points where electrons can flow. So electricity is basically the study of the flow of electrons. And so what we want to do whenever we're talking about electricity and its kind of sideways parallel counterpart magnetism, we want to follow the flow of electrons. And we want to see where they can go, because if we have electrons that are, maybe there's not enough of them in the case of like oxidative stress, then we can completely cure that by giving a rich source of electrons, by earthing, grounding, standing on green grass. So things like that. Albert Einstein was famously quoted as saying, "The future of medicine will be the medicine of frequencies."
In 1940, Reich built a device that would change everything, the Orgone accumulator, a surprisingly simple box constructed with alternating layers of organic and metallic materials. The organic layers would attract the orgone energy, while the metallic layers would reflect and concentrate it inward. Patients simply sat inside, and something remarkable started happening. Reich meticulously documented his experiments. In his 1948 publication, The Cancer Biopathy, he reported, increased body temperature in patients who used the accumulator, accelerated healing of wounds when exposed to orgone energy, improvement in blood test results. In some cases, Reich observed what he called a rosy glow in patients after orgone treatment, which he attributed to improved circulation and energy flow.
Reich was a very special person. He had things in common with electromagnetic forces. He attracted and he repelled. And some of us who read Reich, as we were reading, we said, yeah, and yeah. And others who read Reich, or more often read articles about him, said, this guy's got to be stopped. That alone makes for an interesting lecture. The scientist Max Planck once said that it's difficult for people with new ideas to get into the flow of conventional science, that the orthodox scientists have a special brand of cultural lag, and that they tend to reject what's new.
In one documented case study, a patient with melanoma used the accumulator daily for several months and reported pain reduction, though Reich himself noted this wasn't a replacement for conventional treatment. Word began to spread, too quickly. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration launched an unprecedented investigation, not because Reich was harming anyone, there were zero reports of adverse effects, but because if his device worked as claimed, it would collapse billion-dollar industries overnight. You have to understand what was at stake. This was the 1950s, when the modern pharmaceutical industry was establishing itself. A device that could potentially heal cancer and other diseases without drugs Using freely available energy, it threatened too many powerful interests. The government struck with merciless efficiency. Court orders to cease all research raids on his laboratory. Arrest warrants for Reich and his associates. In 1954, a judge ordered all organ devices destroyed, and any book or paper even mentioning organ energy to be burned. 6 tons of Reich's work, decades of painstaking research, were incinerated. The only time in U.S. history that a government agency burned scientific books. It wasn't enough to discredit him. They wanted him erased from history. Reich was arrested for violating an obscure court order. Thrown into a federal prison, he died alone in his cell at age 60. Official cause of death? Heart failure. Unofficially? Silenced. But Orgone Energy refused to die. In 2024, a group of independent scientists revisited Reich's suppressed work, equipped with modern technology and measurement tools. Their findings shocked them. Cells regenerating faster than control groups, tumors shrinking significantly in laboratory tests, stress markers dropping dramatically in test subjects using nothing but concentrated energy. Dr. James E. Strick, science historian and author of Wilhelm Reich, biologist, confirmed through archival research that Reich conducted serious laboratory experiments following scientific protocols of his time. Reich's early Bonn experiments at Oslo University showed what he claimed were transitional forms between non-living and living matter. Observations made using high-quality microscopes and documented with time-lapse photography. Modern researchers use terms like biofield therapy when studying similar concepts. The National Institutes of Health has established categories for research into biofield interactions, though they don't specifically reference Reich's work. Numerous scientists have attempted to replicate aspects of Reich's work, with varying results and interpretations. The concept of a universal energy that can affect biological systems continues to be explored in different scientific contexts. Some institutions do investigate biofield concepts today, though most mainstream researchers don't directly connect their work to Reich's theories. What's important is that the scientific community has gradually become more open to studying subtle energy interactions in biological systems. Even cultural figures recognize the potential of Reich's work. The renowned writer William S. Burroughs became a devoted supporter of orgone energy treatment, along with his friend, artist Brian Geisen. They went so far as to create their own orgone accumulator chambers. The FDA's case against Reich was complex and multifaceted. The investigation focused primarily on interstate commerce of orgone accumulators. Reich refused to appear in court, believing the legal system wasn't qualified to judge scientific matters. The court order that led to the destruction of his materials was exceptionally broad. According to Dr. Strick's research, Reich's prosecution was unusual in its scope and severity. While many have speculated about pharmaceutical industry influence, it's historically documented that the FDA did destroy Reich's books and journals, an unprecedented action against scientific material. What's undeniable is that Reich's unconventional theories challenged fundamental scientific and medical paradigms of his time. Whether this justifies the extent of the government's response remains a subject of ongoing historical debate. Today, many approaches build on concepts similar to Reich's orgone energy. Tensor rings, made from specially wound copper wire, these rings are said to create a toroidal energy field that interacts with the body's energy systems. Proponents claim they can help balance energy and protect against electromagnetic frequencies. Copper pyramids. These structures are built based on sacred geometric principles, often matching the proportions of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Enthusiasts use them for meditation and energy work, believing they concentrate ambient energy in ways similar to Reich's accumulator. Orgonite, a modern adaptation of Reich's work, combining metal shavings, crystals, and resin to create devices that allegedly transform negative energy into positive. Energy jewelry, bracelets and pendants made with specific metals and geometric designs claim to interact with the body's natural energy field. While the scientific evidence for these approaches varies widely, they all connect to the fundamental concept Reich was exploring, that invisible energy fields influence physical health, and that properly designed devices might interact with these fields. Wilhelm Reich's legacy is complex. His work spanned psychoanalysis, biology, and what we might now call biophysics. The destruction of his books and research materials represents a troubling moment in scientific history. regardless of whether one accepts or rejects his theories. What's perhaps most significant about Reich is how he attempted to bridge the gap between biological science and energy-based concepts of health. His work reminds us that our understanding of nature continues to evolve. Whether Reich was ahead of his time or simply wrong in his specific conclusions, his story raises important questions about scientific orthodoxy, the boundaries of acceptable research, and the relationship between health and energy that continue to resonate today. Remember, the pursuit of scientific understanding is a journey that requires both skepticism and openness to new possibilities.